5 people here. I'll watch it. Okay, cool.
All right, good morning. Can you guys hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep. Alex?
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so far so good. Is it? I think it's 10.
11.
What? Oh, I'm sorry, 11. Yeah, an hour later than normal. Okay, so let's get going here. It is 11 o'clock, November 10th, 2021. This is a special meeting of the Mendocino County Subdivision Committee. So we'll start with roll call. I'm Russ Ford, Planning and Building Services.
Marlena Dooley. Oh, sorry.
Alex Sequeira, Transportation.
Marlena Dooley, Environmental Health.
All right, good morning. Nice to see you guys. So for our first item, I think we actually need council. There he is. Okay, so we'll kick off with agenda item 2A, which is discussion and possible action, including adoption of resolution of the Mendocino County Subdivision Committee, finding that state or local officials continue to recommend measures to promote social distance in connection with public meetings. So I'm going to turn this over to our Deputy County Counsel to walk us through this a little bit.
So Deputy County Counsel Matthew Godrowski, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, I'm not on screen, but that's fine. So what this item is regarding is at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Newsom issued an executive order that temporarily suspended certain provisions of the Ralph M. Brown Act. And those suspensions expired on October 1st and were replaced by the provisions of Assembly Bill 361, which amended the Brown Act. Under the new rules, a Brown Act body may continue to meet with some or all of its members participating virtually during a proclaimed state of emergency if state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing. The county's public health officer issued such a recommendation on September 29th, 2021, and that recommendation was uploaded to the agenda page for today's meeting. To continue meeting virtually, each Brown Act body is required to adopt findings every 30 days, demonstrating that it has reconsidered the circumstances of the emergency and verified that the health officer's guidance is still current. The first such finding needs to be made at the first meeting 30 days after the first virtual meeting that was authorized by the statute. For most entities, that means the month of November. They would have had one meeting in October that was authorized by the statute virtually, and the first meeting after that is where this item is coming up. The County Counsel's Office has prepared a form of resolution reviewing the code sections and including references to both the health officer's recommendation and the Department of Industrial Relations guidelines regarding COVID precautionary measures. The resolution is for the consideration of the committee, and I'm here for any questions.
Okay, do we have a copy of that resolution?
So is this one that we're going to move for approval?
Yeah, so what's the process that we need to do here, Matt?
Yes.
So the issue would simply be if the committee members have reviewed the resolution and agree that these conditions exist, and that's why we uploaded the health officer's recommendation, then a member of the committee would simply move to approve the resolution for this agenda item, and we take a vote.
I move we approve this resolution that is listed as item 2A on our agenda.
If I may, Deputy County Counsel, I may also recommend that if there's any asking for public comment on the item would be appropriate.
Oh.
Okay. Do we have any public?
Sorry, does the resolution have a number?
Deputy County Counsel Matthew Godrowski, I don't believe so. I'm not sure how many resolutions the subcommittee approves formally. So
I believe this is the first.
And I believe for certain entities that's going to be the case. I'm not sure that a lot of the what's considered a legislative body under the Brown Act necessarily adopt many resolutions.
Okay, do we have any public comment on this item?
None. No one has reached out to speak publicly on this.
None that we're aware of. All right, so we have a motion, Marlena. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. So Matt, do we need to sign something and get back to you, or is this sufficient for your needs?
I think for the moment, this would be sufficient. We'd have staff fill out the ordinance in terms of, pardon, the resolution in terms of when it was, be introduced, the second vote and the vote ayes and nays. And then we will have to do this every 30 days. So at the next meeting, we have to have the same item, and it may become a very short item as time goes on. We shall see. I will say that if the Subdivision Commission doesn't meet in a month, that doesn't mean you have to hold a meeting just for this purpose. You would just have to have this on the agenda at that next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, since we do meet just once a month, it sounds like we'll have to start every meeting with this.
It should be. And then I think that would be the matter of having staff, if need be, reach out to me, but then just confirm that, we're still in this state of emergency given COVID, and secondarily, the health officer's guidelines and recommendations.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for the assistance. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a good meeting.
Okay, so we'll move on to agenda item 3A, which is boundary line adjustment 2021-0045. The owner applicant is Stephen Gomes. This is a request to reconfigure boundary lines between two parcels, 0.63 miles northeast of the town of Mendocino on the corner of Little Lake Road and Flores Street. Our staff planner is Matt Goins. Do we have anybody here representing this application?
We do not.
Okay, is there anything you wanted to offer?
Nope.
Okay, let's go to environmental health. Any comments?
No comments.
Okay. Transportation?
No comments.
Okay, and planning is just recommending standard conditions of approval. So can I get a motion?
I need a few seconds to write. All right. I move that we approve boundary line adjustment 2021-0045 with standard planning conditions.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. You're done. Thanks, Matt. Thanks. Okay, agenda item 3B, boundary line adjustment 2021-0053 for Brutico Vineyards Incorporated. The agent is Ron Franz. This is a boundary line adjustment to adjust the boundaries between three existing lots about 1.5 miles east of Hopland on the south side of State Route 175 at its intersection with Liddell Hilltop Road. Is there anybody here for this application? I don't
No.
see anybody. Okay, environmental health.
No comments.
Transportation,
No comments.
and planning is recommending standard conditions.
All right. I move that we approve boundary line adjustment 2021-0053 with standard conditions.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 3C, boundary line adjustment 2021-0054 for Virginia McLean, Benjamin and Teresa Keffler, and Zachary and Melissa Schott. This is a boundary line adjustment to adjust the boundaries between four existing parcels about 1/2 mile north of Redwood Valley on the east side of East Road. Let's see, is there anybody here for this?
There is
Okay, environmental health. Any concerns? Okay. Transportation?
I did have a comment regarding this one. From the proposed parcel configuration, this does create a landlocked parcel. So I would like to see that the strip there to maintain access from parcel 23 out to East Road.
Could you explain that? Say that again, Alex?
Yeah, so basically the existing parcel 23 has direct access out to East Road.
Number one, the blue.
Number one, the blue, yeah. So that has direct access through that little narrow strip out to East Road. And then in the proposed parcel configuration, they that strip that goes out to East Road gets absorbed into number 4.
4 and
Yeah.
3, yeah.
So I would just recommend that that little strip still connects to number 1. Just continue
Okay.
that strip all the way to number 1.
So if we included an easement in the legal descriptions for lots 4 and 3 for the new boundaries for the benefit of lot 1, that would be sufficient.
Say that again?
So I'm looking at the tentative map. So it
Yeah.
looks we would need to have an easement included in the legal descriptions for the new lots 4 and 3 for the benefit of lot 1. Reach back there.
Or why?
Is that an option, the deeded easements recorded to 3 and 4 versus changing the map and keeping that access?
I would like rather keep that access on the number 1. That way we're not creating a landlocked parcel.
So we should continue this item to the next agenda?
Either that or place a condition that number 1 must continue to have direct access to East Road.
Is there
Or-
any reason that we couldn't approve it if they were amenable to the easements?
No, I mean, our general practice has been that, not to create any landlocked parcels. So as an easement, I get that the easement is, would be there, but it does create a landlocked parcel.
Okay. Okay, so my recommendation would be to continue this to the December meeting. And then this is my project, so I can reach out to the applicants and see how they'd like to proceed.
Okay.
Okay, do I need a motion for that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do one.
All right. I motion that we continue boundary line adjustment 2021-0054 to the December subdivision committee meeting,
And that'll be December 9th.
December 9th, 2021.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so next up, agenda item 3D, boundary line adjustment 2021-0056 for Peterson Tractor Company. The agent is Munsell Civil Engineering. This is a boundary line adjustment to reconfigure the boundaries between 2 parcels, approximately 3 miles north of Ukiah City Center on the west side of North State Street, 0.15 miles south of its intersection with Parducci Road. Is there anybody here representing this application?
No. The planner.
Oh, Dirk's here.
Yeah, Dirk.
Dirk, did you have any comments about this? I see this is your project.
No, Russ, I'm just here in case there are any questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, Marlena, any concerns?
No comments.
Alex?
No comments.
Okay, and planning is recommending standard conditions.
All right, I move that we approve boundary line adjustment 2021-0056 with standard conditions.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we've got our first minor subdivision today. This is agenda item 4A, which is MS 2021-0005 for Rick and Jane Couples. The agent is Ron Franz. Staff planner is Sam Vandy Vandewater. This is a minor subdivision of a 4.5 acre parcel into two parcels of 3.6 and 0.9 acres, about half a mile southwest of Hopland at the end of St. Mary's Avenue, 600 feet from its intersection with McMillan Drive at 501 St. Mary's Avenue, Hopland. All right, so who is here for this project today? Just you?
Me.
Just Vandy.
No agents?
No,
Oh, okay.
sent them and the owners the notice and.
Okay,
sounds
well,
like
that should make it
intended.
fairly straightforward. We don't need to read through the conditions for you.
I read through them already, yeah.
Okay. So it looks like they are requesting a waiver of parcel map. They want to do a unilateral.
Yep,
Okay. So the only issue I had with that one is because it is in the flood zone. We will need a flood exhibit to show where the limits of that are.
is that gonna be through our mapping, or is that, does
It's
the
something
applicant
that
need to
they
get
will
an
need to
engineer?
prepare.
Okay,
Yeah. It's I don't know if we're considering it a special exhibit. Okay, all areas within the subdivision subject to flooding shall be clearly identified on a flood exhibit map to be recorded as part of the unilateral agreement.
okay,
So they can just tack it onto the end after legal descriptions or something.
okay.
Okay, so Marlena, just mostly for our benefit, do you want to go through and just tell us which conditions you've got here?
Well, it's my understanding from the application that they're planning on having public water and public sewer. That's still the case, yes?
Hopland Public Utility District, I believe.
Correct.
So then we're gonna have condition number 31.
That it?
Yeah,
Okay.
letters from the utility districts that have been installed to the,
Will serve letter. All right.
Nice and easy.
That was an easy one. So then, Alex, I updated with the other condition. I wasn't quite sure how to phrase this special condition. Did you have some language for that?
Yeah,
what number are you on?
It's going to be a special condition, so I guess it'll be 51.
yeah, it's pretty much a, let me see here. You know, parcel 1 and parcel 2 shall each have 39 feet of frontage to the county right of way. That's already depicted on their tentative map. This is just to make sure that, you know, their, you know, configuration doesn't change later on. That they both have access to the county right away.
Okay. 39 feet.
Yeah, that's the amount that's depicted on their tentative map.
Okay. So I think you guys have reviewed planning conditions. I've got the one from environmental health. I've got a couple from transportation. So if we're happy with this, then let's recommend approval to the planning commission.
And Vandy, I just want to make sure, usually when applicants are here, I stress that they understand it's not just the will serve letter that says we can hook them up. It's the certificate that says that it's been installed to the liking of the district.
Okay, I'll make sure I iterate that to them.
So that requires an inspection from the district afterward, it sounds like.
Yeah, and they'll issue it. I mean, that's what it says. When you read it, it literally says that, but people don't always read it. And then the district will give a certificate that it's all been installed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I move that we recommend approval to Planning Commission of subdivision MS 2021-0005.
I second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That was a super fast subdivision.
Cool. Do you need the file or for follow-up?
No, I think so.
Cool.
You can take it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have agenda item 4B, minor subdivision 2017-00008 for Jim and Belinda Apperson. The agent is Ron Franz. This is a request for an extension of time. They're, I think, just about done with this. They've submitted the final map for review, but the thing did technically expire in October. They did submit before that. So this would be the final 18-month extension and would extend the due date out to April 5th, 2023. Planning is recommending approval, and we don't have any concerns with it. Environmental health?
I'll get a hold of them for a couple of comments now that I've taken a look and seen where the project's at so that they can finish it up on my side of things.
Okay.
But I'm fine with the extension.
Okay, thank you. Transportation?
No comments?
Okay. All right, so let's get a motion to approve this extension of time.
I motion that we approve the extension for a minor subdivision MS 2017-0008.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is 5A, Pre-Application Conference 2021-0004. This is for the Mendocino Coast Humane Society, and it's a request to demolish the vacant building and add 938 square feet to the existing 3,700 square foot ARC thrift store to be used for receiving and sorting donations and minor renovations to the interior. So we actually received a call from John Redding, who's one of the applicants yesterday, and they're unable to make the meeting today. So we're actually going to continue this to the December 9th meeting for review. So that would be my recommendation
Okay, per applicant.
for applicant.
All right. I motion that we continue this item, PAC 2021-0004, to the December 9th, 2021 Subdivision Committee meeting.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to agenda item 5B, which is our second pre-app today, PAC 2021-0008 for Mendocino Redwood Company, LLC. The applicant is the Mendocino County Soccer Academy. The pre-application conference to discuss construction of a 4-field soccer complex with a clubhouse, walking trails, and parking. This is 2.5 miles from Ukiah Town Center on the east side of North State Street, a 1/10 of a mile south of Carter Lane at 2881 North State Street. So who do we have for this application today? I see Mr. Curry.
Ian Fitzpatrick.
Ian. Okay, so let's go to the applicants first. I don't know, whoever wants to take the lead on this and just kind of give us an outline of your project. I'm
Russ,
sorry.
it looks like Dusty's on the line too, I presume, for this.
Yeah. We've got Dusty, John, and Mark, and Ian, it looks like. I assume everybody's here for this one.
Yep.
All right. right, so I don't know who wants to take the lead, but go ahead and give us a little outline here, and then we can run through the project.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll jump in, excuse me, and then hand the baton to Shane. My name is Ian Fitzpatrick. I'm the administrative director for Mendocino County Soccer Academy, and I appreciate the county staff. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, we appreciate county staff taking some time here to learn a little bit more about our project. As you see, we've got a few folks in on the call here with us. Shane Huff, who's our club president, who I'll have him provide the overview in just a moment. Mark Zekiel is part of our board of directors. Dusty Dooley is a parent of one of our players, and I think a couple of you guys may know Dusty. And then really want to extend a lot of gratitude and thanks to Mendocino Redwood Company and John Curry, who are the owners of the property and are just on an information gathering process with us, and we appreciate them taking the time to have this conversation with us as well. So. Yeah, I'm going to turn things over to Shane. He'll provide just some brief context for the project and then jump into a few particulars. So Shane, go for it.
Thanks, appreciate it. Again, Shane Huff, president, founder, and the director of the club. So MCSA was established and started in 2013. And the goal is just to provide opportunities for children of all levels to have developmental appropriate activities and just an enjoyment for movement and enjoyment for the game of soccer and through the game of soccer. We have multiple programs within our academy. We have a grassroots academy program that's all about locomotor skills, movement, and everybody's active with and without a ball, playing fun, silly games. And we have satellites outside of Ukiah and Willits, Mendocino, and Covelo. I know Laytonville has just recently contacted us and interested in us helping facilitate their program as well. So that way they feel that they can offer a more developmentally appropriate program for their children. We also have a developmental soccer league that we created a couple years ago, and we just finished our second season. We had one pre-COVID, and then now one post or through the COVID, but now that we can play at least this last fall, and we just completed that. And that's a county-wide league with kiddos that are ages from 7 to 14, 15 years of age, and teams throughout the county. We also have a select team pathway, and this pathway is probably about 325 member clubs in Northern California, and we compete. Our select teams is our highest level of players and teams and most committed group, and they play home games locally, but they travel throughout Northern California and compete with other clubs and teams in league and state cup play. Currently, we're at Pomalita Middle School, and they've been great. Ukiah Unified School District's been phenomenal, and the principal, Mr. Barrett, I mean, just very supportive and believing in what we're offering, what we're doing, what we're providing for our children. And so they've been great in allowing us to use those facilities. But we're outgrowing it. We're too big. So just, you can see here, I came up with the idea. If there's a lot of background noise, I might have to hand this over to Ian. But I have myself, who was born and raised in this area, left for 18 years, came back in 2011, spring of 2011. Dr. Munoz, Joseph Munoz, is a professor at the college, a doctor in physical therapy. Him and I played college soccer. He also played professionally in MLS, is our community. And then Coach Stanley Rhodes has been with us since the inception and helped get this thing going as well. It's pretty much the three of us that got the ball rolling and making MCSA happen. So again, the number one objective for MCSA is opportunity. Our goal is to provide and change the narrative for our local kids, to give them a platform, to give them an opportunity to be seen. Many times, myself graduating in 1993, we are not we don't have that same playing field, that same level, the same facilities, the same opportunities as you would find with kiddos that are south of us, 45 minutes south of us, where the facilities are there and the kids have opportunities much greater than ours to potentially reach the goals that they've set for themselves as student athletes. So our goal and my goal was, can I help give these kids that want or have those dreams and aspirations to reach their full potential? Can I provide a program that can do that? And that's what we've done. And it's not just for higher end kids. The philosophy, the motto, the mission statement is all about providing playing opportunities of kids of all levels and of all interests. And I think that's what we're doing a really good job of in our program, and that we're really proud of within our program. So again, the successes that we've seen in the short time that we've been together, we have 13 kids in the professional development training program through NorCal, which is a free soccer program where we have 13 2008s and 2009s participating in currently. And those 13 kids have tried out to make this program with over 80 kids from Region 5, which is Sonoma County, Humboldt County, Napa County, Marin County, all these kids from all these areas competing. And we have 13 kids right now currently in that program, as well as 3 kiddos that have advanced onto the state pool team that are high school aged kids. All of this would not have been, would not have happened if we didn't have the program that we currently have. I would say maybe 2-3 kids max would be part of the PDP program, and we probably have 0 kids part of the state pool. But because of what we created in 2013, we've allowed these kids to be seen and be heard and have the opportunities to fulfill their dreams. So again, it's all about opportunity, creating opportunities for our local kids, and doing it through the beautiful game, and allowing people in our Ukiah and all our surrounding communities to come together and learn about the game, learn about what the game has to offer, teach many, many life lessons, which is what the beauty of team sports is all about. And our kids are definitely reaping the rewards from that. So again, we have a grassroots academy. This last year, we had 5 different sessions in 4 different communities throughout Mendocino County. We had over 1,000 registered kids in 2021, just in our grassroots program. Again, Ukiah, Willits, Covelo, and on the coast. We created our Developmental Soccer League in our 2nd season. In 2019 was our first annual fall season. We had 8 teams. This year we had 20 teams and over 225 players. So it was about an increase of about 50 to 75 players on top of what we had in 2019 for our Developmental Soccer League. Our select teams, we currently have 6 teams where we have 111 players participating. We anticipate having in the spring an additional 4 more teams to the 6, U9 and U10 teams, and little kiddos running around and competing and playing in the league and in tournament play. We offer summer camps where we hosted 2 summer camps this last summer and had 175 players registered and having fun and active throughout the week of their summer camp, which was in mid-June of this last summer. But the reality is we lack access to safe field space, and we don't have anywhere to grow, anywhere to go. And that's the big issue that we have currently with our current setting. Our goal and our drive and what really drives me, kind of like that started this program, and we've grown the program. We have wonderful people involved in this program that are mentoring and educating our children. But we need to expand, we need to grow. And our club has done a feasibility study. We're currently in the process of having an economic impact report written, because this is the next step. Being able to provide a very safe playing opportunities and safe playing passages for our children with a very nice complex where there's walking trails, playgrounds, a clubhouse where kids can come, do their homework after school, get tutoring, and then let them go play. The little blue courts are futsal courts, outdoor futsal courts, and the rest of the fields are a combination of turf and natural turf, soccer fields with lights. Again, one thing around the world is what soccer communities have, is they have a clubhouse, they have a place that they call home, and that's their focal point. And we feel that our soccer community is ready and in need of providing this for our children. Within that, it provides other professional opportunities as our club grows. We have, field and maintenance operations, more marketing and promotion, more coaching opportunities and professional coaching opportunities for coaches to come in and supplement income. So again, we feel like the economic impact report that we're putting together is really going to show how a complex in this area is going to bring lots of people into our community, into our county, in particular into Ukiah, where they're going to spend their dollars. Because when I run 7-a-side leagues at the college, I had teams from Middletown, Lakeport, Boonville, Fort Bragg, Cobolo, Laytonville, all representing their communities, coming to Ukiah once a week when I was the coach at the college. And they came here, go to dinner afterward. They plan their shopping trips around their playing opportunities coming from these small little communities, rural communities into Ukiah. So if we're able to host leagues, men's leagues, co-ed leagues, women's leagues, we're not only going to get Mendocino County, but we'll be getting teams from Lake County. We'll be able to host soccer tournaments and get kids from all over northern Southern California to come in and check out the beautiful wine country. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but back when I grew up, they had 2 tournaments that were really big hits. One was called the Wine Festival, a wine country festival soccer tournament. And what it was is it was a representation of our community. And in the Saturday evenings, families would gather at the city park and they would do wine tasting with all the local wineries, and the kids would play at the city park. It was an incredible event. We want to bring these type of events back to Ukiah, back to our local community, and spur our economy in the right direction. And we feel confident that we can do that. So here's the parcel that we're looking at, and this is, and again, I think too, it's not just a complex for soccer. It's a complex with walking trails, Part Q courses, playgrounds, where families can come, drop off their kids in a safe environment, and then they can go and get a workout in on site and be around their kids and know that their kids are safe, that they're able to do something productive with themselves rather than dropping their kid off and having to leave and nowhere to go. So this is something that we feel is real important to kind of create the more family environment with our complex. But here's an idea of what it looks like. And, and we're very grateful for Mendocino Forest Parks, willing to listen and potentially partner up with us on such a fantastic project.
Well, I'm sold.
Me too. Where do we sign up?
No, it sounds great. That was a great presentation. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, this is kind of an initial scoping discussion to see what the feasibility would be and what kind of hurdles you might run into from the regulatory end of it on our side of the counter. So I'm going to turn it over to Angie here for a minute. She's the one that did the review for planning, and let her go through her little checklist real quick, and then we'll talk about some of these items between planning, environmental health, and transportation, and some of the concerns that we may have.
So our first concern is that the property is zoned Ag 40, which does not.
Yourself.
I'm sorry?
Identify yourself.
Oh, I'm Angie Lane, Planner Tech. And so the property is zoned Ag 40, which does not allow for commercial recreation, which this would fall under, not being a public entity. The Mendocino County Soccer Academy, being its own entity, a private entity. So what we see feasible is a rezone of the property. The property is located within the Ukiah Valley Area Plan, which is a part of the general plan. So the zoning needs to be compatible with that, and then compatible with commercial recreation. And what we found that would fit that is the C2 commercial zoning. What's happening, interestingly enough, right now is that the Ukiah Valley Area Plan was developed in the last couple of years, and the county is currently working on a process to make that area's zonings more compatible with the Ukiah Valley Area Plan and general plan. So the county is going to be rezoning that parcel in the next 8 to 12 months. If we can't guarantee at this point that it would go to C2. If you guys wanted to move quickly, then you could apply to rezone the property now. It is already, if you went to C2, that would be compatible with the general plan, which would then not require a general plan amendment, which is a huge expense and part of a typical rezone. So the rezone application would be approximately $6,000 with a fee to Sonoma State for $75 and a Department of Fish and Wildlife fee of approximately $2,500. And then you're going to incur the building permit fees through the building department for the grading, the structures. The last note that I have is that the parcel is entirely in a flood zone and partially in a floodway. So there would be no structures allowed in the floodway, which you guys aren't proposing at this time. It looks like it's the trails and the more open space area at the back part of the parcel. But still, the rest of the parcel is in a floodplain, which you will need to follow the floodplain ordinance 22.17.315 goes into depth as to the different things you'll need to do to mitigate the factors of the flooding for your structures. Any
So
questions?
typically for that, that's, building whatever the base flood elevation has been established to be, you'd be required to put the structures above that. If that wasn't possible from building, we might be able to talk about bringing in some fill to get the whole grade up above the base flood elevation, but that's something that we would also discuss with the building division, is the flood regulations are through there.
And can I just clarify something? So the C2 commercial zoning, what is that specific zoning? Does that go from agricultural to?
So C2 is a general commercial, which is kind of a general commercial use. So basically what happened, just to go into the UVAP thing a little bit more in depth. So back in, I think, 2011 approximately, the county adopted the Ukiah Valley Area Plan, which is a specific plan for the Ukiah Valley with some new general plan classifications. This particular area was assigned one called Mixed Use North State, I think, isn't that what it is? Yeah,
Yes.
at the MUNS. So the intent was to establish these general plan classifications as kind of an initial roadmap, and then the county was going to follow up and rezone these parcels within these new classifications to something that was compatible with that use. And there had been a lot of transition over the years. A lot of that didn't happen, and so this is something that we're trying to go back and pick up now. So this parcel falls into one of these new classifications that has not been rezoned. So the C2, the reason that we're looking at that one, that Angie picked that one, is because it's not only compatible with the MUNS designation, but it also allows for this type of use that you're proposing. So it would be kind of an ideal fit to solve both of those problems.
Without us having to go through the whole rezoning application process.
Well, no, it would be a rezone application because there's sort of a path upcoming here. You guys would have the opportunity to put in this application and specify it becoming a C2 zone for your specific use, for your intended use here. Otherwise, the county is going to adopt a compatible zoning for this. We can't necessarily specify at this point that it will become C2 or a commercial zoning. There's a number of other type of zonings that are compatible with this mixed use. But since this is something that you guys have in mind right now, it seems like a good way to dovetail these things together. It's just that's, you know, another year and a half in the future maybe, and it's hard to say what's going to happen with it then.
So this is John Curry with Mendocino Redwood Company. So if this project doesn't move forward, that property will be rezoned anyway in 6 to 12 months?
Correct, but not necessarily to commercial.
And what are concerns about
The intent,
access?
I'm sorry, I was talking over you there.
What are concerns about access? I mean, ideally, we'd like to work out a way to get access to Mendocino Drive, but would it also be required that they'd have to go through the State Street?
Well, that's a good question. So let's go to transportation to cover their thoughts.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know, you know, where you're planning on coming, you know, accessing the parcel through.
Over by Carter, I presume, onto Lake.
What's the current access for the parcel, John?
Right now, the parcel is accessed via, you know, directly from the sawmill parcel, but there has been a historic access directly across from Thurston, which we call the old Ibarra House parcel, and that comes down. But, you know, we'd like to develop that parcel into something potentially in the future. And, you know, we'd probably look at trying to secure access adjacent to the railroad right away out to Lake Mendocino.
So when you say through the sawmill parcel, is that the one that comes up from Kunzler Ranch?
Correct. If you look at our where our dry kilns are, there's kind of a road that goes out onto it, and it's right where we're storing byproducts as well. But that's not a realistic access for this application, and it would either have to come in, like a road would have to, an encroachment in a road would have to be built, you know, to handle this kind of thing, along the industrial parcels and into and across the railroad into the this parcel. That would be another issue, is that, you know, with everything going on with the rail trail, it'll be interesting to try and get access across the railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, you know, wherever you guys come out, whether you come out to, you know, North State or, you know, obtain easements to come out, you know, Lake Mendocino, however you guys do that, either way, we would need a commercial road approach onto our county road. We would need an encroachment permit. And then, you know, I'm sure the local fire agency, you know, would have their comments on, you know, with the roads and leading up to the project site.
Okay, Marlena, any comments on the environmental health end?
Well, I presume you guys are planning on having Ukiah Valley Sanitation District provide water and sewer at that phase when you're going to build a building that on that site? Because I see you got 3 phases, right? We're talking about no building all the way up to clubhouse. So environmental health is going to be the water and sewer aspect. If you're with the sanitation district, you know, that railroad is a question. They've had a hard time extending beyond those sections. So I don't know if you've spoken with them. I don't have any jurisdiction over them. So that's a different entity. If you've not reached out to them, I absolutely would. If they can't do it, then it would be on-site septic I presume that water will not be a problem. I'm really thinking about their sewer laterals. And then that would change, you know, how much space is available for certain things and parking. But your best bet would certainly be to connect to the sewer district.
Yeah, it's worth noting that the parcel is adjacent to both Millview Water District and Utah Valley Sanitation District, but is not technically within either of those districts. So it would potentially be an out-of-service agreement through them. And
Well, that parcel is also allocated, I think, 2,000 acre feet of water from the Russian River.
oh, okay.
So we've got an ordinance on the books that says if you're within 300 feet of the sanitation district, you have to connect. So we would require that you approach them. If they state in writing that they cannot do it for reasons X, Y, and Z, then the county would entertain and accept an application for a septic system. But first, you have to approach the sanitation district.
Yeah, so for Ian or Shane, I'd recommend that as being one of your next steps here is to reach out to those districts individually and see what kind of capacity they have, if they're willing to, you know, provide a will serve letter and what kind of requirements they would need from you to hook up to their services.
As well as the railroad.
The railroad would be another issue. I'm hoping that the districts might have a better idea of that, a better feel about what the complexity is, because like I said, it does go all around that parcel. So at some point they did cross the railroad, but it looks like they may have done it through the county road, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I know Dusty may have had a few thoughts on the UVAP, but his computer doesn't have a microphone, and so he's calling in on the phone, so that way the phone need to be unmuted. I don't know if somebody can unmute Dusty to see if he's got a question.
You'll have to press *6 to unmute on your phone, Dusty.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Right on. Just trying to get a little bit of clarity. I mean, what I've heard is, and I think this is good news for the benefit of the goal of establishing a soccer complex on the subject property. But it sounds like that the county is very close to initiating a process whereby they would rezone the property to C2 to be consistent with the MUS mixed use North State Street general plan designation that came out of the UVAP process. Do I got that correct so far?
Yes, that's a message that we're getting. Yes.
Okay. So Russ and Angie, in looking at the information, the UVAP for the MUS district, it talks about you know, the intent of creating some type of mixed use development. Obviously, that's not a requirement automatically in the C2 district, although it does allow for a mixture, a variety of uses, residential, commercial, community recreation, which the soccer field complex would fall under. Would the C2 designation come in with some of those standards that they're specifically found in the UVAP? Meaning, you know, if it was rezoned to C2, would there still be this expectation that we need to develop some type of mixed use to go along with the soccer field, or could we simply, you know, develop the soccer field consistent with applicable standards upon the successful rezone to C2? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think for the most part, you're familiar with zonings, you know, just as much as we are. You know, you have the intended use and then you have the actual use that's being proposed. So even though this wouldn't technically be a mixed use type of situation, I don't think we would probably require you to put mixed use on there. You know, I would say it's better to have the parcel used for something that's compatible rather than wait to, you know, indefinitely for the perfect kind of use to come along or require you to sort of shoehorn something else in. That's just my hot take on it. You know, obviously we'd have to review the thing when it came along a little bit more. But if this use is compatible and it just happens to take up the majority or all of the usable parcel, I don't see any reason that we wouldn't want to go along with it.
Gotcha. Thank you, Russ.
One question is that, you know, the technically the parcel is not just the parcel that's on the east side of the railroad track, but includes a portion on the west side. That would also be rezoned, and if we wanted to put a building there for offices, that would be compatible with C2.
Yeah,
We'd have to look at
generally
that.
speaking.
Yeah, is that all one legal parcel, John, or is there multiple parcels in there?
I can't remember if they're CC'd, but I think that the east and the west side are combined into one parcel.
Okay.
I don't know. There wasn't a CC done.
Well,
There was one done in '99.
Well, my thought was that if we did do that rezone, we don't necessarily have to adopt the same zoning for everything within the same classification. So if it was a different parcel, maybe we could apply something else to it that was more compatible. Although it seems like that kind of use would be fine in C2.
This is Dusty.
No, go ahead.
Just for clarification, I know we've been talking about the rezone of parcel 169-150-02. That's the 36-acre parcel that's up against the creek. I believe parcels 06 and 05, the other adjacent properties under the same ownership here are currently zoned industrial. I didn't see that those parcels were identified in the UVAP for reclassification, but for clarity's sake, Russ or anyone, when we talk about the county initiating this rezone process, are those two other parcels, parcel 6 and parcel 5, that are currently industrial, are those subject to the county initiated rezone process as well?
My understanding is that it would only be parcels that were within the new UVAP classifications, the MUNS, the MU2, and the mixed-use Brush Street Triangle. But, you know, obviously we're keeping an eye out for anything that's not compatible, and we'd like to fix those going along too. So are these within that mixed-use North State?
They're not identified in that Appendix I on the parcel list. So that's what led me to seek clarification.
Yes, my guess is
it
that
sounds
they
like
would
John,
not
as the owner, might be a good time to approach the county if you were interested in rezoning those industrial zone parcels as well, to try to get those included in the county initiated process. But
so one other question I did have, and this is probably more for Dusty, and just Shane, you had mentioned an EIR, but I think you were talking about an economic impact report. Something like this is a fairly major development, and it's possible it might require an environmental impact report to be done. Have you guys done any research into that? Because that can be a pretty costly and time-consuming process.
well, Shane, this is Dusty. I could maybe speak to that a little bit. You know, so Russ, I mean, it sounds like the best path forward would be if the county initiated a process and successfully rezoned it to C2, then we're in a situation where the sports complex is a permitted use. And we wouldn't be going through a discretionary process. But if we were required to go through a discretionary process, and I haven't spoken to these folks yet, but it's very possible that we could be looking at, you know, a variety of studies. I don't know to what extent, you know, through this pre-application process, you're able to cross-reference it with the California Natural Diversity Database to kind of give us a hint as where we might be with botanical. But yeah, the folks on our side, you know, we need to understand that, you know, if we get to a position where we need to request the rezone or we need to obtain a major use permit, you know, then we're on the hook for the environmental review component, and that can lead to, everything from transportation study to archaeological cultural resource study, botanical, biological study, and as Russ mentioned, they're far from cheap. But Russ, if we're able to get if the timing works out and the county initiates the process and either borrows off the environmental review that was completed for the UVAP adoption and or completes further environmental review as necessary to support the rezone, then we might be sitting pretty, huh?
That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah. There's some ifs in that conversation, of course, but it seems like it's definitely a path at this moment. So it sounds like
if that is initiated from the county, we're looking at another 12 to 18 months before that would be complete. Is that accurate?
It's hard to say. It's really tough to put timelines on those things. I think that's probably a reasonable estimate, with the hopes that it would be done sooner than that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, when that process starts, the property owners will be notified by the planning department?
Everybody that's involved would be given a notice, and there will be public hearing and everything associated with it.
And they can give comment?
Yes.
So it's not one-sided?
No, it's not just this is going to happen, but it is part of a process that has been sort of on hold for over a decade, so it's not really news either. All right, so it sounds like on your end, the next thing you guys would want to do is reach out to those districts and see what kind of resources and hookups they have available. On our end, let's see if we can get a little bit more clarification about when this process might start and what kind of outreach is going to happen initially with it, and where we are for taking input on what some of these rezones might be.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, that was a good conversation. Do you guys have any other questions for us right now?
I want to say thanks for taking the time to listen to us, and obviously for me personally, and I know Coach Fitzpatrick as well, this is definitely a learning process, and appreciate Dusty, John, everybody else involved. Hopefully make some change and do some good for the kids in this community. We're all in the same boat that we want to invest in our children. Like the county has some means to help with that process and help us along like you have that way. We are greatly appreciative of it. So thank you.
Sure. Yeah, like I said, it sounds like a great project. I'm excited, and I would really like to see it go through, and we'll do what we can, with the regulation part on our end.
All right, thank you all.
Sure thing. We'll be in touch with you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, thank you, Angie. Okay, so that takes us to item 6, which is matters from staff. Do we have any matters from staff? That looks like a no.
No matters here.
That's a weird one, though. They're landlocked on that lot with the railroad on that side. How? Talk about your landlocked parcel, right, Alex?
Yeah.
You really want that other one to have its own access so that it doesn't have the same scenario pop up?
Right. I mean, in this case, it's already, they'd have to have an easement come out somewhere. I don't know, it depends on what they can do with the railroads or come out a different way.
So I just want to say we got a bunch of corrected, amended agendas, and that's, I presume, just about that gubernatorial COVID spacing requirement. And so moving forward, we have a plan now. We know we've got a notice for every single one until that changes, and Coco's going to tell us, because I did not realize that we were adopting a resolution. I was like, oh, right, that's what got added. Check.
Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's the first time subcommittee
Right?
resolution for anything. So yeah, kind of a learning experience for all of us. But yeah, that was the impression I got, is that we're pretty much gonna have to kick off every meeting with this, refreshing this resolution until these restrictions are lifted. All right. So agenda item 7, matters from the public. Do we have any public?
We do not.
There is no public. All right. So that brings us to agenda item 8, which is adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn if there is no other business?
I second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye. Lunchtime.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.